Hi Prachi, how are you?
Hi. Good, good.
All right, where are you joining in from today?
I am right now in New Delhi.
Oh, you're in New Delhi. How nice. Are you from New Delhi?
Yes, yes. I'm born and brought up here.
Perfect, awesome. So how was your Bangalore trip? I know we caught up here when you were here.
I think it was amazing. It was a full stroke 360-degree attack of startup world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome, awesome. So I know you come from a very different industry, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But
sure.
welcome to this LinkedIn Live, which will then be posted everywhere in different forms. But thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
doing it, and I'm so
Thank you
glad
for
we
having
are.
me. Mhm.
Of course, of course. I think for context, Prachi was here in Bangalore, where I am currently. I think you were here for 2 weeks, if I'm not wrong. More than
4 weeks,
that?
yeah.
4 weeks, so about a month.
Yeah.
And she was just going around meeting interesting people, and she happened to DM me on LinkedIn, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, DM me on LinkedIn, and it was just a very nice reach out, very open conversation. Typically,
Instant
things
and
that
beautiful.
I do.
Yeah.
It's very nice. So typically, I do these reach outs. I was very happy, and I like that there was no like pitch about a work or anything, which is also refreshing nowadays. And I guess we had planned to grab coffee for an hour, and it went on for quite
It
a
just
bit.
went on. It just kept going on. Yeah, we couldn't stop
We couldn't
bursting with
stop.
our
Yeah.
ideas
Awesome. Yeah.
and
So,
alignment.
and alignment. Yes. So a lot of interesting things we spoke about, which is like a very interesting interjection of like the legal industry where you come from and mental health where your interest and your heart and your passion lies. So it was
Yeah.
very, very interesting to kind of have you kind of just go for it. So I feel it is an honor to have you here because then not just
Thank
me,
you.
all the people who are gonna tune in and watch this recording later on will also will get access to what I'm talking about right now. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So this is a series called Know Your Rights, which is workplace edition, basically about simplifying law in everyday language. Yeah, and mostly non-lawyers or who people who don't study any aspect of law or work in the legal industry has have no idea about what happens behind the scenes or and mostly I've seen that when you talk about that, hey, I have to consult a lawyer, or you hear anyone else consult with a lawyer, you often feel it's bad news because we are a little like scared of law in general because of unawareness. And at the workplace, a lot of employees feel that they have been dealt with the weaker hand because they always feel like, oh, corporations are always lawyered up, they have done their due diligence, they understand that they have a good backing behind them. But employees in the power play are a little, weaker in that aspect. And if they ever have to conduct or consult with a lawyer, they'll feel like, I really don't know what to do. So this is about bringing that knowledge together, where we have gotten four different lawyers talking about four different very important topics. You happen to be the fourth one over the course of this entire month, just to help people understand that law can be simplified and knowledge is power. So if we are able to kind of seek the right advice at the right time before things go wrong, we will also be able to feel much more certain and in the way we live life in general, mostly at the workplace. Yeah. So today's topic is very personal to me and to you, which is
Yeah.
basically letting go professionally, what a healthy exit looks like. Praji, why is this an important topic as per you?
So what happens is that, as you said, that we all deserve to know our rights before we exit. What I consider the situation as is a paradox because we, no matter how many reasons we have to make an exit from an organization, there is still a psychological attachment, safety, which is associated between us being an employee there and they being our employers. And suddenly to go rebel, suddenly to stand for yourself against them while there, during or at the start of your notice period, is something which is very, very chronic. It's something which is very hard to crack. You suddenly don't switch your mode and you suddenly start becoming, an organization versus an employee, and suddenly, change your skin. And that is why when they're reaching out for their legal rights or their HR rights or approaching people, I've always sensed a certain sense of humiliation, self humiliation, which they have, because it is harassing. that their own people with whom they were working, because no matter how much professional we become when we are working, there's a lot of emotional quotient attached to it. And that's what becomes by default an EQ for the organization also. And to suddenly go against them, sometimes there's a big battle between your head and your heart to know your rights rather than just rationalizing it and going forward with it. That's why also I feel it's very crucial for people to have this injected in them right before their appointment letter till their exit clause.
I think, as you rightly mentioned, something when you think about exits, right? Anything ending is mostly not very nice to us. Like we don't like friendships
Yes,
ending, relationships ending,
yes.
journeys
It's not
ending,
a pleasant
travels ending.
moment by default. Yeah.
There's an association of something ending, more of a sadness in that than the happiness of starting something new, right? And also a sense of loss because you're letting go of a certain space. And like you mentioned, that suddenly the company that you have kind of attached your identity to, your growth to, becomes your enemy. Almost overnight, the moment you
Yes.
discuss with your manager or you drop your papers, you can understand and almost instantly see the shift the moment they realize that they have lost you. If they're trying to throw offers at you or trying to retain you or giving you more options to stay back and you've been rejecting it, they understand it after a point of time, she's gone. Then it starts, right? You can often feel the power shift, and I think a lot of things go
Instantly.
downhill.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. So,
I mean, there's a
thanks again.
reason. Yeah, just to
Oh,
add to this, there's a reason we call it a goodbye. We always use the term goodbye because bad byes are always hurting and lasting. It's just like that nagging thorn, in your heart, and it makes you bleed at some point or the other.
absolutely. No, you're right. You're right. So, before we kind of deep dive into today's session, I would like to kind of introduce you to
Sure.
all the people who have logged in and will, kind of listen to our conversation later on. So, Prachi Trehan is the founder of Break Free. Prachi, little bit about Break Free if you want to add two lines, in case I don't get it
Sure,
correct.
sure. So, break free is something which is very self driven to decode bad mental health, corporate burnouts, career confusions, career transitions, career misalignments. And it's something which is very specially dedicated for first generational students and early age professionals. So it's a
Perfect. Wonderful.
platform
Wonderful.
where you can find your safe space around your career development, your work-life balance, your corporate burnouts to decode them. It started off when I was decoding my own depression and corporate burnouts. So yes, it just kept on getting enhanced and transitioning me into this on the way.
Yes, perfect, perfect. Great. So, along with that, Prachi, like you mentioned, that you also conduct trauma-informed programs to navigate career transition, which is a very interesting way to put it. Like you mentioned, corporate burnout, career misalignment for work-life balance, holistic living, and mindful of early age corporate professionals and first generation students. These are very interesting things that you have kind of put together and
Yeah.
coupled up with the industry that you come with, which is the legal industry, which is extremely I would say, difficult to get into and even more difficult to survive. So I think these are all interesting kind of topics for you to delve into as well. All right.
Thank
So
you.
I guess we'll also hear a little bit, not just from the legal aspect, but a little bit of mental health, emotional burnout as well. Today's conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. Perfect. So, Prachi, my first question to you would be that if someone is kind of resigning for the job, right, what should they check in their contract before putting the papers down?
Sure, sure. It's a very relevant question, but I'll just add some more validity to the question that not just during the resignation, but also during the appointment, these things can be thoroughly checked in a contract. Definitely, when we go for an appointment, we are not instantly thinking about resignation, but we might have to invoke the exit clause at any time, certainly or uncertainly in the future. So, right from the beginning, after the offer letter, when we receive the employment contract, the appointment letter, we can check this, and definitely during designing the job. So, first is your notice period clause. You definitely need to focus on the duration, the pay in lieu, the terms, and how much clarity the notice period policies have in an employment contract. That also tells a lot about the character of the organization. An organization who might end up prospectively making it messy or noisy for you will always have something unclear in the notice period clause. Something which doesn't give you that sense of direction or visibility as to मैं बाहर कैसे निकल रहा हूँ इस organization से. But an organization who's pretty much clear and mutual, this goes for the organizations also, will have a very transparent notice period clause in terms of the duration, the pay in lieu, the terms, and the exit obligations, like the exact time or the exact space of handovers of the assets, the return, the knowledge transfer. You can also check the non compete and the non solicitation clause, though most of these are not operative, which we'll speak in detail later. But how much are they emphasizing on the non solicitation and the non compete so that you have a visibility of how things look like around your exit? And then there are some miscellaneous things like leave encashment, like the pending dues, the clauses related to the resignation withdrawal or the early termination. How can you withdraw a resignation if there's any bond which you have or any minimum tenure which has been decided with you at the employment at the appointment stage? So majorly these are the things which one can have an eye upon or read thoroughly before approaching their department or the HR for putting their papers around a notice period clause.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think another thing I was just kind of thinking about are like from the non-legal aspect, but just to be a little smart about it, would be first to understand that a lot of these contracts or employment contracts, offer letters, are often like drafted with those usual templates. How a company executes it is very different, right? So
Sure.
it basically talks about the company's personality and behavior. So a good thing to do would be to speak with people who have, if you have seen anyone resign recently in the past 2 to 3 months, have an idea as to how their experience was, what made it difficult for them, if anything at all. And at the same time, if you don't find anyone, then you ask your team members
Sure.
who perhaps have seen other people resign to check the pulse, that how were they treated, was work taken away from them, or like was there anything to be aware of at the very beginning. So I guess the homework should begin a little in
Yes,
silence, a
yes.
little bit to yourself. Don't make too much noise so people can realize it, and you never know who's the teacher's pet in a certain way. But just be a bit cautious and speak with people, like by the way, to just understand what exactly am I dealing with and how are these clauses or these terms come into effect. How are they enforcing or reinforcing it? That's a very important thing
That's
to
very
check.
important because, as you said, the culture or the practice or the standard practice of an organization is something slightly away from what's on the paper. These clauses are read as less by the employers in the HR department as less by the employees. So this is also a part of the homework, that how much are you familiar with the IQ levels or the reading capabilities of the HR before you actually start narrating them that no, not a month, I need to get a 2 month pay if you're just terminating me instantly. And how much can you be assertive while pressing upon it? So this survey, this background which you mentioned, this due diligence plays a lot of role. When you know their trends, you know that how smooth or how rough the exit is usually in a standard practice of an
Fair
organization.
enough.
Makes a lot of sense.
Nice, nice. Absolutely, absolutely. So, Prachi, that takes me to like my second
Sure.
question is that can someone leave without serving the notice period if the environment is toxic or unsafe?
Well, in cases of unsafe or toxic environments, there can definitely be a prerequisite, like a step one practice which they can do before instantly walking out, and that is filing and having the courage to file a written complaint before the HR or the higher management. This is not just to change the things or rectify something, but to put this on record that they were raising alarms. They were actually trying to clean the air or trying to actually be the whistleblower of something because they couldn't take it. And that also becomes your documentary proof, your evidence gathering in terms of putting your resignation papers that you have filed already a formal complaint and nothing happened. Depending upon the gravity and the scale of the toxicity, if nothing really happens and the person is still not comfortable that after approaching the higher management or the HR still nothing has happened, they can actually also go for filing a formal complaint to the labor commissioner. Because if there is any kind of unsafe condition in terms of any harassment or any health risk, and mental health risk qualifies into that, then a labor commission also declares it as a constructive dismissal. You automatically are deemed to have the right to dismiss and to get out of the organization, and it gives you a legal ground to quit immediately. So it can be like a step by step process by approaching the HR, and then maybe with a higher gravity letter to the higher management. And then if still nothing happens, to the labor commissioner, because in any case you're going and nothing is happening in the organization. And it's hard to stand for yourself. It's easier said than done to do these things. But what I feel is that the approach should be that you are in any case going, you've had the loss which you had, but there is a calculated risk which you're taking for not just you, but the entire organization, for the coming employees also, and the present one. And that is also an additional cause, an additional impact which you're creating. So these are some levels which can be crossed, and there are legal rights for it, not just the in-house HR rights, which people are mostly not aware of. Because when you are in a toxic environment, you adjust till a very long extent, and you get used to the circumstances, and at the tipping point when you're leaving, you don't have that much time, effort and energy. But these are very small steps which you can take to back up. And in addition to that, there can be Google reviews and Glassdoor reviews and other such documentary proofs also, which can be written and verbally seen, where there are things mentioned about an organization. I faced some circumstances in my previous organizations, and to back them up, I could clearly see things mentioned on Google reviews, on Glassdoor, where it was clearly mentioned how the environment is. And that backs you up also. The other thing which people can do while they're building up their documents around an HR or a legal higher management or the legal department of the organization is that they can approach um, the they can actually go for reviews, and they can actually have the review, the good reviews and the bad reviews which are getting collected by other people in the organization, and because of the toxicity, the fire rate and the exit rate which the organization has. So obviously these kind of environments give you a 360-degree view in a prolonged way, and if you can have an account of that, that is very useful.
Understood. Understood. So we've gotten one comment here. Shraddha is saying that things get messy during PIPs. Yeah, it actually does. I guess in a certain way, if someone is in the PIP, it is also like most people don't come back from there. So it is a way for the company to tell you that you are in a certain sense now serving your notice period. So it's better to start looking out for other jobs. Better to also mentally understand that the company might have made up their mind. Of course, people have bounced back, and team members and managers have also helped them. But in most cases, I've seen that PIPs are a way for the company to politely tell the employee that we don't think this is working out
Yeah,
between us,
yeah,
right? So it is strategic and sometimes used in a very incorrect ways
yeah,
also. Uh, um, Prachi, when you were talking, something kind of came to my mind about Glassdoor, yeah, Glassdoor and other public reviews. I think most people, when they join an organization, don't do enough research before they apply,
sure.
right? Because a lot of us are, when we join a new organization, we have almost left the last organization in a not so good way. And there's a certain level of desperation for us to quickly get to the next one. So the way they sit for interviews and the way they kind of put themselves forward is also in the way of, hey, I need to kind of quickly get into an organization. And it almost feels like you're at a weaker spot, which need not always be the case. So, and I've seen that these prospective employees don't do enough research, and even if there are things written on Glassdoor or things written on social media which is negative about the organization, I just like how you date a toxic person, right? And you feel like, and you've spoken to any of their exes, you feel like, oh, with me, this person is going to be different. So they often feel like, oh, this is a experience of other people, but with me, things might be different. So this is also an important factor for us to notice that please read all these reviews very carefully. please be aware that most people who are writing these reviews, not all of them are writing to kind of do anything negative for the company for the sake of it. Most of them are writing, when you're really angry and you're putting your heart out there, you can understand that they're writing from a sense that something unfair has happened to them. So be aware that that person can be you also tomorrow. So if you can stop it from happening by at least joining an organization with in itself is a better culture, then all this conversation about a healthy exit will not even be a matter to you, because you know that the company treats its employees fairly and like a decent human being. But the moment we feel that, hey, oh, this is happening to 10
Yeah,
people, it might not happen to me because I'm different, you're also living in a little bit of a la la land to think that
yeah, yeah.
life
Shying
is just
away.
that lucky. Yeah,
Yeah.
from reality. Correct, correct.
Yeah, this has to
So
be very inclusive. I mean, even the employers should have a thought that they can also be an employee to somebody at one day while they're doing this on a trigger of another employer who just tells them to do it. And same goes for the employees. What is happening with others might happen with you also.
absolutely, absolutely. So Anand is saying Glassdoor comments mostly contain the negative reviews because the negative sentiment surfaces more frequently than the positive one. Um, Anand, I mean, see, honestly, it is how you see it, yeah. So if you're people nowadays are so obsessed with reviews. If you are ordering something off of Amazon, which even cost $100, if you see newer reviews which are bad, you're not going to purchase it. So if you enter an organization which is going to kind of help you stay or keep a stable income that adds to your livelihood, that adds to your family's growth, that also adds to your sense of your identity, why would you just read negative comments and not take it seriously? It is also about the weightage of those comments, and it's about how many people have written it and how bad are they. If there are one or two lines and you feel like one or two people have had a bad experience and they are just taking it off on the company, then that's, I would say, we are able to figure it out. But if you see year after year, the comments have been extremely bad, then it definitely is a very big image of the actual internal culture of the organization. A good way to also do it is to ask friends of friends, right? Do you have friends working in this organization? How are they? How do you feel they are doing, right? Or to contact people who have been ex employees of the employees of that organization and have try to have a candid chat with them. Um, the whole point of this is to not close your eyes to
Sure,
reality
sure.
and not think that if the data is available, why wouldn't you at least consider reading it instead of just closing your eyes and thinking that nothing's going to happen to me. Then tomorrow if something happens, then you'll only regret thinking I had read this and now it's happening to me and I don't know what to do. Or you read it, you prepare for it, you know that okay, if tomorrow this thing happens to me, I know what to do. And then you enter with your ammo and your knowledge together. Yeah, you enter with that mindset. So just don't be unaware is
Yes,
the whole point of
yes.
this.
And very, very shortly to add to this, unfortunately, these reviews are negative, Anand, because you never get a place to actually speak out your unheard silence or pain inside the organization. And when you are already you've gone through, you've burnt your hands there, and unfortunately you're not left anything else to lose, you speak out here. As Sonali said, that it's such a strong part of your professional and personal identity. Why will you speak negative if there is nothing negative which has happened? So this is just an eye opener for people who are not already in the system to do their due diligence before they're entering it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Prachi, there's a very nice comment and question, and both of us will really like
Sure.
it. So, we have Kenneth who's asking, organizational empathy is something organizations think of as a luxury, while in reality, it is a necessity to stay authentic. What are ways in which organizations get in touch with their humanity in dealing with tough changes in a supportive way? I'll let you take
Sure,
this first.
sure. I cannot agree enough. I cannot agree enough, Mr. Sequeira. Uh, Organizations really have to understand that organizational effectiveness is completely, absolutely proportional to the emotional and the happiness quotient of the employees. They are the ones who actually make it, they are the ones who actually break it also eventually. No matter how many policies, how much managerial decisions you have to trickle down from the top, it actually comes to abundance, it comes to prosperity only through the employees. And if this goes hand in hand, and we have classic examples of that, where there is a very picture perfect HR implementation in an organization, and people die to go there or be there unless there are some incidental toxicities. If you go hand in hand with that, then we don't really need any kind of external support or legal support to manage inside. But however, the organizations, unfortunately, who are having their blinders on completely on the optimization and the profits, or they think everything from the money point of view, or they think as if they're buying resources to actually replicate to their services, their things don't go hand in hand and things go out of balance. Because ultimately, no matter how much there is denial in the organization, it's all about people, be it working through them, be it working for them. Even the people who give you profits are also people. So that is something which becomes a missing point, and that's why this becomes a luxury in some organizations.
Absolutely. So, Kenneth, my view to this would be to look at it as part of your organizational structure or process creation, right? Take it in a very step-by-step transactional way because the moment we use words like empathy or authentic, it is very qualitative in nature. But at the end of the day, every business is looking for numbers and data. So, if an organization is shown that on the account of you being more empathetic and authentic, your numbers are growing, your people are happy, they're performing better, there's more productivity, you are retaining better quality employees. Hence, as a business, you're growing, right? Then it will make sense because I feel like the moment we isolate any of it, quality or quantity, it's going to get difficult for anyone to figure out what's really happening. Hence, this is a strategic approach. So my thing would be that a lot of when I work with organizations, they say that Sonali, we want to build a culture where people want to stay back, or we want to build a culture where people are happy at work. And if your organization is, let's say, a 3,000, 12,000 head organization, it's very difficult because you have been in business for so many decades. How can one small activity change that? But you can change this at a minute level. So if you are a manager of a team of, let's say, anywhere between 2 to 20 people, then it is on you to create that microculture within your teams, right? And that's something that I work with very, very extensively. As a manager, you can create your own culture, your own ways of working within the team, where you can show your team what it means to be empathetic, what it means to be authentic, and then your team can follow that same way of working. And when your team kind of steps out to work with other team members, they're going to behave in a way that's, like you mentioned, more authentic and more empathetic. And tomorrow, these team members will become managers and they'll percolate the same culture. And that's how, step by step, the culture is going to be built. So the moment we feel that, oh, this is a organization problem, we kind of are getting away from the fact that we also are part of that organization, and we are, if we are not solving the problem and tolerating the problem, we are adding to the problem. So take the control in your hand and figure out what can I do today to create this empathetic or this authentic culture. If you are not a manager, then at least you can act out of that authentic empathetic self. You can tell your manager that, hey, I feel that there are certain things that I propose in which we as a team can connect better, we can build better trust. Can we do this in this way? So suggest certain activities that work for you. And at the end of the day, I am a very big advocate of every person's personality has to also match the personality of the
Yeah,
organization. There has to be a certain level of compatibility. If that is not happening, then that is your biggest cue for you to go forward and find another organization. Don't get stuck with one bad toxic manager or very difficult culture and sit with that and feel very like, oh, what should I do now? No, you do your work, but keep staying on the lookout. It's like finding a great partner or a great therapist or a great coach. You gotta keep looking because the right one is out there. But if you're sitting with the wrong one and you're only sulking and thinking nothing is happening for me, then that's all gonna happen, right? So it is definitely a possibility. I've known great leaders and great organizations with the best culture. And I've also known people who are feeling very down because they are stuck with the wrong one. So it's on us to go and find and put ourselves out there to find the right
yeah,
people. It's very, very
yeah,
possible.
yeah. See, because at the macro level, as she said, it's beyond your control. Individually, you can do a lot of things for yourself, but at a macro level, you cannot. You cannot insist the organization to create a budget for a meditation app for all the employees, to regulate the HR for different kind of recreational activities, to keep conducting training programs for mindfulness. So a character of the organization is something which is also a responsibility at an individual level to judge and see that do we need to constantly fight this battle internally with them, which is beyond our control, or do we need to find our way out, which eventually we get a pulse of in an organization.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, thanks, folks. Please keep asking your questions and putting in your comments. So, we're gonna quickly move on to this is an interesting question. So, Prachi, can someone withdraw their resignation if they change their mind?
Exactly. There are both answers to this. Before the employer accepts it formally, yes, you can. You can definitely have a conversation with them. And even if they have accepted the resignation in writing, then also withdrawal can happen, but it's completely a subject of complete company discretion. In public sector, in government jobs, I can also categorically specify withdrawal is typically allowed till the last working day or the formal acceptance. Depends case to case. But yes, it's something which is very open-ended. It completely depends upon the company discretion, but you can go for it. It's a matter of a conversation. Because this is not something which is
Okay,
specifically
got it.
mentioned in any agreement which I have seen so far, but it can be something in which you can find your space if you want to.
Okay, fair enough. So it's not a no. So if that happens, and again, it also at the end of the day, like how did they take the resignation is also important. The first conversation, how it
Yeah,
went,
yeah. It's a
yeah.
flow.
How what
Yeah.
is it's a flow, yeah. How is your connect with your manager or the HR, and if they had kind of given you a counter offer, and if they gave you some time to think
Yes.
about it. These are all things. So if you feel like you might change your mind, if they pull you back or they give you a counter offer, these are things again, please decide beforehand. Yeah, don't think like I'm gonna resign and oh they might ask me to stay back, they might not. What will I do? So have all of these different options available in your mind to you. Like
Right.
think about it beforehand. When they do, then you can always say that, hey, I thought about it. I think I like the counter offer. I would like to stay back. All of that. It should not feel like a desperate attempt because now you're not getting another job, or you had a tentative offer that you were supposed to get from another company and you didn't, or it didn't go through. So these are all things that can always happen, especially if you're using one offer and doing some shopping outside and using that as
Yeah.
leverage. So please be aware that these are all tactics that employers and HRs are aware of. Be fair in both
Yeah.
cases.
The other thing which came to my mind is that why there is so much emphasis on being flexible and being absolutely organic in your conversations, in your exit rounds with the HR, with the technical team. Nobody tells us the exit. Nobody teaches us the exit. And we're always, as you mentioned, surveying around through people that how people left. So even if something is popping in your mind or there is some kind of reconsideration, be as candid and organic about that also. Because it's just a matter of conversation. There might be reasons they still want to retain you. There might be reasons you also still want to get retained. And there might be some minor conflicts because of which the exit is happening. And it might get resolved. You never know. Not every organization is toxic and unhealthy to not stay back to. It might be some performance or some team issues or work related issues which can have an alternative, and they can put you to a better team or a better project and make you stay back. And you can then go longer in an organization because we do give a lot of time, effort, energy, and resources to an organization. And it's a lot to invest to. So if it's an informed decision, well and good. If there are still considerations, it's not a very meek or a very weak choice not to have a conversation. Even after an acceptance of a resignation, you can still have one. Sometimes bosses themselves proactively initiate a conversation because they want to retain you in a healthy way. And you can say that I had a problem with this manager. He is like a poison in the well. Can you put me into another team? Or they propose proactively that let's put them into another team, but let's retain them. And it is a healthy choice. It makes you stay back for a lot of good reasons.
Absolutely. This also makes me think of something, and I'm going to say something which is probably a little unpopular or something on that sorts. Because your team or your friends in the organization has put their papers down, that is not the reason why you should quit. We are not in school or college, right? That someone is taking a different major or they are shifting to another city or whatever. They are part of one sports team and we also want to bunk classes. I think a lot of times I understand that it is extremely difficult to find great people to work with, and if somebody has quit and joined another organization and they are saying that, hey, I also want to refer you, because these kind of things do happen all the time. But unless you have the right offer in your hand that is right for you, not for your friend or for your colleague, it I don't think it's the right decision to just go with the flow. Yeah. Please see that is this new organization good for you, good fit for you as well? Are they ticking all the boxes that matters to you and your life and the way you want to lead? It might be absolutely perfect for your friend or for your colleague, but it might not be the best for you. So please don't get very swayed by it. Don't take it as a competition. Oh, now they have a better package, I also need to put myself out there. These are very bad and silly reasons to do that. And again, any decision that stems out of any level of insecurity or not the best feeling often does not end in the right way. So please ask yourself the right questions. Why am I really quitting? Do I really not like working here at all? Is there any way that I can stay back? Because, like Prachi, you mentioned that once you stay with the company for a few years, you actually start getting a little comfortable into understanding the company culture, understanding your own work, and then your work starts speaking for itself within the organization. You start building a brand of yourself. And the moment you leave and you join a new organization, no matter how, whatever is your experience, you have to start from scratch at some level. So please know all of that before you kind of get very excited to go for it. Yeah. All right. We have a question, very interesting one. Nandraj is asking, hi, I have few friends who have been transparent with their work experience with the HR and manager. However, the experience of that conversation was not great. How to tackle and initiate the conversation?
You want to go ahead with this one?
Sure. So basically, perhaps they've told the HR that the current work is not going so great, and the HR has not done anything about it. I'm guessing that is the case. So I'll function from
Yeah,
there.
I guess so.
Um, Merely having a verbal conversation is not enough. Please put it on paper, which means that email the HR saying that, hey, as discussed, these are a few things on my head, or where I'm thinking. Can you please help out? So the moment you put it on an email, the HR will also understand that this is getting documented and it is their job, or at least part of their responsibility, to at least try and solve it. And they need to give a response to you, no matter what they say, that hey, I'm looking into it or whatever. You just say that, hey, thanks for looking into it, but I am just an email person for my own understanding, and kind of, so I can keep track of things, I would like to put it on email. If you can speak to your manager, do that. If you can yourself come out with what could potentially be the solution, right? So if you, like Prachi, you were mentioning, if you can say that, hey, this team or this manager is not working out for me, or this role is not the one that I want to kind of continue, see myself continuing in the future, can you find the solution for them and be like, hey, I like this team, or I would like to pick up this skill, or I am learning, or I'm getting a certification in this particular industry and I would like to switch. Can you give them the solution where their work is to kind of amplify, push you, and execute the solution? Their work is not to find the solution for you. So you have kind of done 20-30% of their work on your own. So it also gives the HR time to figure out that, hey, okay, this person has a problem, also given me a solution that would potentially help me solve their problem. What can I do next to amplify that solution, instead of coming back to you and saying that, okay, let me think about it, okay, this is what I can do. And it also depends on the complexity and the intensity of the problem. If the complexity
Yeah.
is way too much, then it's on you, right? Do you really want to solve the problem in that particular office? If the intensity is way too much that you're unable to do your work at all, again, it is your call. Nothing at the cost of your health, mental health, physical health, nothing of that, right? Please have a very candid conversation with your family as well. If you're putting your papers down, or if you're thinking of making a certain move, then the moment you know that your family has your back, or your friends have your support, have given you support, those will instantly make you feel more confident and less at the mercy of someone else, right? You have to act out of a place of confidence and awareness more than the place of helplessness. That would
Yeah.
kind of be a little bit of
Yeah.
my suggestion.
Yeah. Very, very briefly to add to this, I cannot agree enough what you said. Nandaraj, we don't have to be scared by anything. I am not saying you are, I'm not saying I am, but generally we have these repercussions in our head that what if we mail and that mail goes there? What if my manager gets to know that I'm bike biting behind them? What if, the team gets more toxic? What if they all get to me and start eating me up and start doing horrible things to me? As Sonali said, that it matters on the degree. Don't try to initiate a conversation if the words are not carrying words weightage. Go for a written document, go for an email. If you think at your stage it's not something which is very cruel or very crucial right now, you can go for an indirect mail also in which you approached the HR and the HR was not satisfactory in their results, and later detail it if still doesn't anything happen. Because sooner or later, if something gets invoked or something gets highlighted, they will be completely accountable and answerable for what the mail response was or not was when that was sent to them, because that's an official intimation. That's how we operate. So sometimes when we realize in certain situations that our words are not carrying enough weightage, we can directly go for an email. And trust me, beyond our fears, when the situation is very high, on a high stake in terms of toxicity, in terms of annoyance, in terms of irritation, and we keep escalating the HR levels, that also is something which gets us results. Because if people start taking you seriously in the written form, then people will have to respond. That just doesn't happen on the organizational level, it happens at every department. If police is not working for us, we actually start writing, okay, to the SHO, okay, then to this to somebody higher, to hire, and we go till the SP or the DCP, and people start taking us seriously. That okay, they're not stopping. Same happens at the organization level. And as Sonali said, let's discuss this externally with our people also, or people who have better corporate exposure, so that we have a 360-degree view of what we are doing, and not escaping or shying away and affecting our mental health, affecting our peace of mind, and having it constantly on our mind because we are not able to knock the right doors. So let's take actions to our degree and control, and slightly increase them rather than running to the top or running to an extensive email. But do it, because if it gets to you and if it gets to your mental health, the organization will not be responsible for that, and it will take you a very long while to cover that kind of a damage or pay costs for it.
Absolutely. I think just to quickly add to that, it is very important to just stay calm and know that you are not at fault. And at the end of the day, this is not something that is only happening to you because whatever. It happens to a lot of people, and there is a way to overcome this as well. And if you feel like taking a legal route is a good idea for you, just to feel confident, not that you're going to send a legal notice or anything like that, but I think consulting with a legal advisor gives you a lot of confidence from that aspect as well, right? Which is why we're doing this series, to help you kind of get a bit more friendly with the law, to understand that lawyers are not out there to get you. There are friends, there are allies, and they have studied a subject that I feel all of us should have studied in school. They have taken that brunt and that effort.
I
So
wish, I wish,
I
yeah.
wish, right? So
I
just take
mean,
advantage of it.
situations, cases are going suicidal, and that is such a dark point to what is happening in the organizations. To invoke us with petitions to actually have law for psychological safety beyond sexual harassment, also now. So, any kind of fear can lead to a very uncertain or very uncalled extent, and let's not go till there, and start using our rights, using our laws within the organizations, which is absolutely applicable and sustainable to happen. It's a very standard practice which should happen from this side also, because we are equal officers in an organization. One is taking work and one is taking money. There's nothing unequal between us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another quick thing is that, please, a quick disclaimer, this session is not a legal advice session. This is an awareness knowledge sharing session. If you require any specific legal advice and you think you would like to reach out to Prachi for that, please do that. Her details will be given on LinkedIn. You can contact her and then kind of take it forward. Please note that that conversation will not be just a random conversation like this. That will be a professional conversation. Approach it that way. Yeah, don't say that, hey, I saw you at Sonali's podcast and let's have like a free flowing conversation because I don't value your efforts and your time and your degree. Don't do that, please. Value this person and then go ahead with it. Um, we have a interesting question from Anand. He's asking how one should negotiate the notice period. What things one should keep in mind? Okay, nice.
We do have this in the sequence.
Yeah, we do, we do. Have we covered it already? I'm unable to think about it.
Not really. Not really. We
No?
do have
Oh,
this.
we can. If you want to pick it up, we can pick it up.
Sure, sure. So again, there has to be a mutually agreed clause in the contract which mentions a notice period. However, for certain roles like in IT or mid-senior or senior level, it is 90 days, which is standard. However, for certain other roles, it can be negotiated also. For workmen level employees, as per the Industrial Dispute Act, it is 1 month. However, if you feel that you go beyond the definition of a workman in the statute and you want a notice period less than the one which is given to you, you can negotiate it with the employee by actually showing the knowledge transfer or by showing that how much can you wind up the work and do the handovers within a lesser period and by showing that you already have a replacement for them. And the last option is by actually making sure that you get bought out by your next employer. So either it will be a work loss for your employer, previous employer, or it will be a money loss. For the work loss, you can show the explanations that सर ये काम इतने टाइम में हो जाएगा मुझे इसके लिए 30 या 60 या 90 days नहीं देने पड़ेंगे or they can say that okay काम तो हो जाएगा but you don't have a replacement. How will I get a recruitment for you? And you already have an option. Like I did this once. I wanted a shorter notice period and I was ready to get away with that and not ask for money for the remaining one. And I actually got a recruitment and I got a replacement. And I said that, okay, now you don't have any other excuse. The handover will happen in these many days. Please allow me an early exit. So it can be as ethical because by the end of the day, uh, it has to be again equal and fair between the employer and the employee. The employer should also have a win win situation when you are leaving. So when you're leaving, you can give them these options and negotiate it according to actual work handovers and actual replacement options or a buyout if it is happening in your case.
All right, fair enough. That is thank you so much, Prachi, for taking it up. I'm gonna kind of just read out the next question. For some reason, it's not popping up on my feed. So,
Sure.
Gloria is asking, what if your organization doesn't have an HR and it's a startup? Pretty common as well. So, what do we do in that case?
I think the straight answer is get to the highest authority, whosoever is available, and make sure that before getting there, as we covered in our initial answer, as Sonali also mentioned, do your homework, read your contract properly, see the exit clause, see the notice period clause, see all the handovers, not just your rights, focus on your duties also, which needs to happen around an exit so that there is a win win and they're also aware that, okay, this is what she's done for us. She's done our homework also and her homework also. She has a point, and this is how she needs to leave. So, whosoever is the one who actually recruited you or got you in can be the right person, or somebody of equal authority can be the right person to actually speak about exiting. It doesn't necessarily have to go through the HR. Everybody in the organization is a potential HR. We all are human resources. Sometimes we have a separate department for that for a lot of activities. Sometimes we don't. Same goes for lawyers. Everybody needs to be somebody who needs to be legally aware, a law-abiding person. We don't need to have a separate support team for that, and we can go with them. So if they don't have a finance team or an HR team or a legal team, they are capable of all of that themselves only, and that's how they recruited you. So they better abide the laws by themselves, and so do you. Make sure it's a win-win, and make sure that you're exiting on fair terms with them as per the contract and as per the negotiations which you want.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So, Prachi, we have like 10 minutes left. What I'll do is I'll pull up the questions, but let's do like a, what do you call this? Rapid fire, right? I know
Sure,
that some of
sure.
the questions
I'll
could
make it
be
quick.
subjective
I'll
in
make it
nature.
quick, yeah.
Yeah,
Some
it
of the
can be like
answers are
one word to a
already
line.
covered also in other
Yeah,
questions. Yeah,
great. Yeah. So, and then if it is a longer answer, you can always say that, hey, if this anyone here has the same kind of a problem or issue, they can reach out to you directly for a more personalized approach. Is that okay?
perfect, perfect. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So, what if my company asks me to leave immediately after I resign?
Oh, they can do that. They can very well do that. The only thing is that they must pay the salary in lieu of the notice period if they want an immediate exit, and they compensate you instead of serving the notice period. That is it. They can waive off the notice period. You just need to tell them that if you're waiving it off, I have a 2 months notice period. You can pay me the salary and I can go
Okay, interesting,
and do
interesting.
all the
Okay,
handovers.
nice, nice. Can a company deny my earned leave encashment during notice?
Hmm. Uh, Earned leaves are your statutory right as per Shops and Establishment Act. So they need to be paid to you unless there is a clause which clearly disqualifies it during the exit, which is very rare. Usually, in the full and final settlement, earned leaves are something which gets encashed, and they are ought to be as per the law. It's often challengeable if somebody is putting a clause like this in the exit that they can't do it. It's clearly challengeable. You can let to refuse your FNF and say that you can give me my earned leaves. Otherwise, I will have to invoke it in the Labor Commissioner Court.
Okay, great. Um, how long does a company legally have to clear my full and final payment?
So ideally, it has to be 15 days, but it takes nothing less than 30 to 45 days. And because not all exits are bad, employees cooperate with that also. So typically between 30 to 45 days. Some state laws on instant termination also mandates it to be within 2 days, so that also is the case which needs to be seen. But otherwise, the payment including a pending salary, leaving cashment, bonuses, gratuity if eligible, happens between a month and a month and a half. Sincere follow-ups in writing can be done if it is longer than that, and definitely you can invoke the code, the labor code, if it is longer than that, or give them a local notification or consult a lawyer if they are not paying your FNF and not responding back also with any legitimate reason.
Okay, great, awesome. Can an employer deny me an experience or relieving letter?
No, they cannot do that. They are obligated to issue them, especially when you are serving a notice period or they are paying you in lieu of that. You can lodge a formal complaint in the Labor Commissioner Code if they are not doing that. Generally, that's not the case, which regularly happens, a denial of a relieving letter. But you can make sure that right from giving your resignation to its non acceptance, everything is in writing. The follow up, everything is in writing, and you've calculated your notice period you're giving them. But if there is an exit or if your resignation is accepted and there is no relieving letter, that is something which can be invoked in the court. That why you are not doing that. There cannot be any reasonable reason to do that. No justification.
Okay. You
It's
you
just a
have to you
delay
should
which
get it.
happens. You
Got it.
should
You
get it.
should
It's
get it.
you. You're obligated. As an employer, you're obligated to issue it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. What can I do if they're giving negative references to future employers?
That is a very unethical practice, and if it is happening at a far more extent, you can already be proactive of collecting all the good work and good comments and all the accolades which are happening during your tenure in the organization. However, if you cannot foresee this and you don't have any of this, you can ask your colleagues to actually give testimonials on LinkedIn and on Google so that your presence in the organization is legitimately justified. However, on legal grounds, if it is unethical and potentially defamatory, you can file a complaint also. You can file a complaint first to the higher authorities in the HR and the legal counsel within your ex organization. And if still nothing happens, you can attach the emails, the calls, the feedbacks, which are negative and which are positive. Positive in your favor, negative not in their favor, and escalate that to the court also, that this is happening to you because It's if it's defamatory, then it falls under the civil and criminal laws of the country. Now, nobody can
Wonderful.
humiliate you to that extent. And a lot of times when this happens, I have seen cases where the higher management and the HR take actions to make sure that their name doesn't get spoiled outside, and try to investigate inside why this is happening. And even to your next employer, this goes as a very legitimate practice that, okay, he or she is actually invoking the law, or they're actually going internal in the previous organization and asking why this is happening. Another thing, another tip for ongoing employees is that whenever there is any kind of positive reaction or a potential negative reaction by the same person, you can always have a personal email sent also to your personal email ID, the email sent also, so that you have records of all the good things and bad things which are told about you. A lot of times, people who are saying good things, and also secondary to this, when there is an exit negotiation, a lot of times people try to stop you, and when you don't stop, they give a negative comment later, which is absolutely unethical. So you can have those emails in which the person was trying to stop you. They were not giving you the acceptance of the resignation and seeing that ये किसी किसी ना किसी तरह रुक जाए. And जब वो नहीं रुके, then they say negative. So that goes contradictory to their character. And escalate all of this to the higher management and HR after the exit, so that it's something which is transparently shown to your next employer also, that why this is happening.
Perfect, perfect. These are really great tips. I think very important is for us to keep everything documented from the get-go. The moment you receive anything positive and negative as well, any kind of feedback, you kind of keep those documented instantly. Like figure out a process that works for you, so you don't have to kind of search for those emails later on while you're leaving. So you have your own folder, take screenshots or send across those emails to your personal ID, and you kind of keep a note of it, keep a documented file of it. So you never know when it comes to handy. And LinkedIn recommendations are definitely a very very big thing here. All of the clients that you're dealing with, people, stakeholders, leaders, managers, colleagues, peers, tell them that, hey, can you please write a LinkedIn review for me, recommend me, right? And you do it while you're at the organization. Don't do it when you're leaving, and it becomes a practice. So the moment you start applying, a lot of us apply through LinkedIn. People can come and check your LinkedIn profile, and they can check all the good recommendations there itself. So you're giving um, that image of trust to your future HR that, hey, this is a good talent. This person has a lot of people saying great things about this their work. So I would like to potentially pick them up. Be very confident, and at the end of the day, there are people who will try and mess things up, because nobody teaches us how to take rejection as well, right? And like Prachi mentioned, that if your employer is trying to stop you, they insist on them sending you a counter offer. They're verbally saying it, that, hey, we will increase your salary, or we will give you a new designation, or we will promote you. Tell them that, can you put it on paper? I just want to read the fine prints before I decide whether I want to stay back or not. And that is your ammo. You can take that, and then you can, if you decide to leave and tomorrow your ex-employer starts to create a records in your current employment, you can always say that, hey, I was actually offered a higher pay or higher role. Then I don't know on what basis they are kind of coming at me. And I would use these things to, again, I would always say, consult a lawyer, understand what your legal rights are. Tomorrow, if you have to raise this issue in a more legal way, you know what your ways are, right? Don't feel that you're alone in this. It is always the best to build a team and a support system around you that helps you deal with this at that time of when you're kind of being defamed or attacked, or they're trying to foul play with you. uh, Nobody should feel like they have only you alone. They should feel like they have they're trying to mess with a bunch of people, or a group of people, or a person who is very well aware of their rights and has the knowledge and the ammo to strike back if it requires, right? Sometimes it becomes a power play, so you don't have to attack. But if your opponent sees you as a threat, they'll back off. So
That's
certain
very
things
true.
are
That's
good to
very
know.
very well said. And just to add very very minutely to this, I've also seen very severe cases in which the person was a high performer of their department, or they built it, started, structured, built it from scratch, and they were out of dominance, out of lala culture, out of traditional practice. They were just told one day to leave, and not given bonus, not given appraisals on the point that you don't work that much, And the army of their work, which they were organically posting very regularly on LinkedIn, became their tool, became their weapon. That it's been 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, and they're gradually posting all the external assignments, all the marketing work, everything which has been done around their department, in which shows their performance very organically. And people can't just one day come and change their world because of that. You have been well displaced, you have a good online presence, and a lot of companies support that also when you tag them on LinkedIn and you keep on posting your work. So if you've done that week by week or month by month and made that a standard practice, that once a month or twice a month I'm posting, or maybe more than that, that also is something which helps a lot. And have your answers, have your tools, as Sonali says, right by the end of it. That I have been posting all my work, all my department's work, all throughout last 15 months, 18 months, and you're saying that I'm not performing. And you have grounds for everything, even to ask for a bonus or even to ask for a healthy exit.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. So yeah, don't get no, don't feel like you're alone in
Caught,
this,
yeah.
and don't caught. Yeah, don't feel like you're cornered. And when if you feel like you need the right people to guide you, highly recommend consulting with legal advisors, because even a conversation will instantly change the way you look at the problem, and try to find a solution. At times when something bad has happened to us, it is human nature to just keep on ruminating about the problem. Oh, this has happened, this has happened. You tell your family, they'll empathize with you, they'll say bad things about your ex-employer, and you keep complaining. You tell your friends, they'll say, oh, this is how the world works.
Yeah.
Nobody's actually giving you the solution.
Yeah.
So reaching out to the right person who will solve the problem is the biggest biggest thing over here, right? You can kind of go round all you want, but if you really want a healthy exit, please ensure that you're reaching out to the right
A
people.
small tip to this point is, as she very accurately mentioned, the people who are just listening to you, they don't have a solution. Reach out to people who instantly help you for document gathering and evidence collection, because your mind is not running at that point. You are feeling psychologically very unsafe in your own organization, which is a part of your identity. Anybody we ask what we are doing, where they stay, we ask where you're working. So it becomes something, it's a very strong rebel to actually instantly start fighting against your organization. Reach out to the right people for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that kind of concludes today's topic, which was letting go professionally, what a healthy exit looks like. Prachi, how are you feeling
Amazing. I
after this
think
conversation?
we both are somewhere very passionate about these kind of causes, and it feels great. Thank you to you, Sonali, that you put us across and other people across these platforms to actually reach out to our own tribe. Because there have been instances in which we were not helped, or we found solutions by burning our hands, and now it just feels so good. So a lot of gratitude to give it back through a platform like yours. So, yeah, more strength to you. Cheers to you to do that. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much, Prachi. It is my pleasure to have you. And for everyone who has logged in and shared your questions, we tried our best to get through every one of you. Prachi is available on her LinkedIn, on email. Please coordinate and speak to her if and when you need to. And this was the final video, at least for now, of the series called Know Your Rights. We have, so this kind of makes it 4 videos. All of it is uploaded on my YouTube, on LinkedIn as well, but it'll be difficult to find on LinkedIn. But you go on YouTube, I'll share the link everywhere. So you can go and watch different videos. And at the end of the day, it is about knowing that all this knowledge is available out there. There is no excuse to sit here and say, I don't know. Right now, there is no excuse. Go and watch these videos. Each video is 1 hour long. You can spend 4 weeks if you want to, 4 days if you want to, 4 hours if you want to. Get yourself equipped, talk to the right people. And Prachi, how can people reach out to you if they want to?
Yeah, so I'm most active on LinkedIn. That's where all the corporate professionals and first generation students are. And I have a landing page on LinkedIn as well. You can reach out to me any which way.
Perfect, perfect. And Prachi, coffee's on me when you're in Bangalore,
Certainly.
and I will soon be visiting Delhi. I'll keep you
That'll
noted.
be
Let's
great.
catch up
That'll
soon.
be great. Looking forward. The lunch is on me.
Done. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Have a
Same.
wonderful day.
Bye bye.
Bye.